Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be a June reading wrap up. June has been my biggest reading month ever to exist. I read a total of 8 books this month, 5 physical copies, 5 physical books, and then 3 on Kindle. So let's just get right into it because I got a lot to tell you. I'm going to share these in order from the beginning of the month and right to the end of what I read and rated them. The first book I read in the month of June was Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton. Yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it. I absolutely love this book so much. I tabbed it up a bit. I don't know if you can see. Hold on, there we go. I tabbed it up quite a bit. It is a stalker romance. We've got Adeline, who is an author. So she has some kind of status in the world, and she recently moves into a new home. And then there's Zaid, who is her stalker and falls in love with her. And it's a dark story. There's little hold on, let's see if I can find one. The book is beautiful. Each chapter starts with a picture, and there's letters in the book like that, and you meet so many interesting characters. I ended up rating this a 5-star. I'd have to say the series overall, you'll learn later, is going to be a 6-star for me. I really loved the series, and I can't wait to read more from other perspectives or from other characters in this series. Oh my goodness, we get introduced to Sivy, and I believe they called him Jay. Oh my goodness. Check up the trigger warnings before reading this, but I highly recommend it. So my next read, if you couldn't guess what it was, let me tell you. It was Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton, and it is a part of the Cabinet of Duets. So it's the second book in the Haunting Adeline, following Haunting Adeline. Haunting Adeline does end on a cliffhanger for anybody interested, so I would recommend picking up the second book right after it. These are a bit of some beefy books. They are just a bit old. They're just about 650 pages. This one's 650 pages. Haunting Adeline is just almost 600 pages. So they're big books, but they are packed with so much stuff, and I think I flew through them really dang quickly. I did have this one up too, but as you can tell, it's mainly in the second half of the book. This book gets it gets a lot darker than the first one, so please, again, check up the trigger warnings, because I was very blown away by what was happening. I believe I cried at one point. This is also a 5-star, by the way, for me. Overall, making it a 6-star series. This is just a continuation of the first one. It picks up right where the other one left off, and I love it. And I was literally so sad when I finished the series, because I'm like, how am I supposed to continue going? I need more. So then I ended up searching up, and I found out that the author is writing, I think, a duet in Siby's POV. It's Siby's book in her story. But then afterwards I realized that there are 2 other books that are interconnected, little novellas. There is The Satan's Affair, which I've yet to read, which is Siby's starter book, I guess, a bit about her. And then the one you're supposed to read right after. We'll come back to her, yeah. We'll come right back. The next book I read was on Kindle, and it is Madness by Jack Whitney. How can I describe this to you? If you like rock stars, heavy metal, if you're into masked bands, what really got me was I started listening to Sleep Token, and then this book was recommended, and I was like, this is what I need. This is what I need right now. We've got Mads, who is I can't remember if he's the guitarist or the bassist, but he plays a guitar in this band, and he hides his identity with a mask, He's the only one on the band that does that. But we get to learn about him and why he does it. And then we also get Andy, who is Mads' best friend's older sister. And they basically, Mads kind of grew up with them. So, like, it's a bit of best friend, or I guess it's, we also get her point of view. So it's a dual POV. And we get, so it's a brother's best friend, essentially. It's a shorter, I remember it being shorter, and I ended up rating it a 4-star. I really enjoyed it. Just after I finished that book, the author did release the second book in the series. I read Toxic on Kindle. Toxic by Nicole Blanchard. I found this one on TikTok. I keep seeing it everywhere on TikTok now that I've read it. And I'm like, oh, that sounds so good. And then I remember that I read the book and I didn't enjoy it. I guess she's a nurse at a prison and the patient sees some bruises on her and then it's like, who did this to you? Now, that's what got me hooked. And maybe it'll get you hooked. It just happened, everything happened so quickly in such a short book. Like a short amount of time. And I got lost. I was so confused what was happening. Because one second we were hating, then we were furious, and then we were okay with it, and then we were in love, and then we wanted to be a part of it, but then we still hated, and it was just, I can't remember it. I can't remember much of the story, but I ended up rating it 2 stars. It was not my cup of tea, but maybe it is yours. Maybe you might enjoy this more than me. So the next book I read was a physical copybook, and back in January I had my boyfriend wrap 12 of my books, so I got to open one mystery book of my own TBR each month to read. So last month, June, he wrapped up The Playlist by Morgan Elizabeth for me. This is 100% a Taylor Swift coded book. Not even coded, it is just Taylor Swift. Each chapter is a new Taylor Swift song. We literally, the cover here, we got the F the Patriarchy little keychain. This says Zoe's version, and it has a bunch of Taylor Swift songs. And then we've got a little list here about, like, things that happen to Taylor Swift songs that we want to happen to us. We got Taylor Swift tickets up here. It is tabbed as well. If you like Taylor Swift, just read it. But to give you some context on the book, this is about Zoe and Xander. Zoe has spent the night with her best friend and realizes this is not the life I wanted when I was younger. I am not happy with my life. I am so bored. So she quits her job, breaks up with her boyfriend, and moves home. So Xander is her best friend's brother, and he takes Zoe on a spontaneous road trip to get her to come back to being the fun Zoe she once was, and get her to reconnect with her passions and to pursue something for herself and not for others. So it's a beautiful story. It is spicy. I rated this book 4.75 stars. Now let's jump back to the first statement I said is that we'll come back to this. So there's a little novella you read after Haunting Adeline, which is Where's Molly? In this book we've got Molly, and she works on a farm. She owns a farm where they feed bad people to pigs. We also have Cage in this book, and he like was sent to help her, like he delivers the bad people to her. He's filling in, doing that. But they have a history. And then they meet again, and they're like, I didn't know you were back. And we're like, yeah. Well, I wanted to read this. I did want to read this because of Molly, and I wanted to know Molly's story, and I wanted to be more in the world. But this is the part that really snatched me and pulled me in. It's the ending, and it says, it's not the ending. I lied. It's just a little part at the end of the book. It says, so you decide to stick around, huh? Here's your reward. And there was a scene with Zayd and Adeline, And I can't. I was in the car and I was giggling and I was so happy. It was so good. I rated this 4.5. The next book I read was the start of the Devil's Night series. So I read Corrupt by Penelope Douglas. My bad. Oh my goodness. We got Corrupt, and this follows, essentially the series is there's 4 men, and they wreak havoc on Devil's Night, which I believe they've done after what I've read. I believe is the night before Halloween. We got 4 guys. We got Michael, Kai, we got William, or Will, and I swear to goodness gracious his name was Damien, but it's Damon. This book is specifically from Michael, and it's about Erica, his little brother's sister, his little brother's girlfriend. So basically, everyone but Michael got sent away to prison, and they were like, it is Erica's fault. Erica did it. Erica's the reason we're here. And so they're like, we're gonna come back when we're out, and we're gonna make Erica's nightmares come true. And then there's a twist and a turn and a flip and a flop. Michael's book, it got a 4.5. So the last book I read this month, as I mentioned previously, is Chaos by Jack Whitney. This follows Reed, the lead singer of the band, who is also Andy's brother and Mads' best friend. The lady we have in the book is Miss Wren. Wren is, she was a model, and now she's an actress, and she has this whole persona, or maybe it's just her, where she doesn't want anybody in her life, so she will be a bitch if she has to be. Basically, her manager's like, we need to give you something to boost you. You need to appear likable. So they're like, you're gonna fake date Reed. This book is like 650, I think, plus pages. It is so good. We get both point of views. So much happens. The spice is really good in it. It didn't feel like it was that long of a book because there was never a dull moment. I ended up rating the book 4 stars, but it probably is up at a 4.5 now that I think about it. So these are the books I read this month, plus like 3 Kindles. Hopefully you found some new recommendations. If you enjoyed, let me know. Let's start a conversation in the comments. Tell me if you've read any of these books, or if you plan to, or any recommendations based on what I've read that I should read. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!